current Hall of Famers who are in attendance here this evening. Jim Bolger, I had a chance to spend some time with you. Jim, nice to Paul Whiting is here with us this evening as well. Where's Paul? Ladies and gentlemen. Sports of Cincinnati, whatever the jury ranked in this situation. Of course, for years we get Blue Day in the fall, and of course we have the big red machine. Now we've reverted to Steinberg. Pretty sad. Jay Howard Sunderman, running for re-election to the Hamilton County Appeals Court. For the judge, he's in Purcell, Grant. Good to see you, guys. Marian coaches to stand and recognize each other. Marian, you know who you are. I've said this on more than one occasion. These are the people, the coaches and the teachers at this level can really make a difference in kids' lives. And it seems to me, and I'm just speaking at the school here, it seems to me that these people, rather than being vilified for taking their summer off, and so on and so forth, these are the people that should be rewarded. People who take time out. Because if we pay teachers more now, we won't need bigger jails in school year. You know, just call me crazy. These are guys that really make a difference. Obviously, the compensation they get isn't financial, but they tell me when I speak to this, and I speak from the heart to them about it, that their compensation comes from some kid who is a borderline case who was just teetering on the brink of destruction and success. When this kid comes back to him in 15 or 20 years and he said, Coach, you're the reason that I'm here today, and I'm poor, and I have a family at home, and I'm not here in tax-paying America. And you people are being congratulated again. Thank you. We're going to invite Dennis Johnson, the alumni director of Purcell Marian High School, to step up here and keep our program moving along. And please step in. That's the Petty Pace of that moving here. Is they ever call you DJ? Did they ever call you DJ?
I have been given serious instructions by any number of people, which is why you see this little paper. Those of you who know me know that on an evening like this, I really get fired up. I just think this is what Purcell Marian, what we are all about, coming together to honor the folks who continue not only, or I should say, who then and now continue to be hallmarks in our community with their family, within the professions they have chosen. And we bring them back this evening to say, more than honored to say thank you. Thank you for remaining loyal Cavaliers, and thank you most of all for staying connected and in a very caring way for the cast. But I have to do the no thing because I was told I must give you the official welcome. So, on behalf of Purcell Marian High School and the Cavalier Alumni Association, I do sincerely welcome you this evening to this Hall of Fame affair. This year again, we highlight men who have distinguished themselves athletically and continue to distinguish themselves in their community and in their chosen profession. I sincerely hope that this evening is both joyous and meaningful to the inductees, of course, in particular, and to all of us in general. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here this evening because, again, it's not so much the fact that we are honoring, but I think it's extremely important that the Cavaliers, that the castle continues to say, we care. We care a great deal about every graduate, everyone who has walked those halls, and it's great to see so many Cavaliers and their friends here again this evening with us. So thank you very much. And to two of the inductees, and for those of you who know me, again, this is no baloney. This actually came today in the mail, along with some other things. People are fulfilling their pledges. I'm the alumni director, and so in the mail came this, and I think it's indicative. I really mean this. I think it's indicative of what I just said. I opened them up because it was brought to my attention it reads as follows. To Jim Higgins and Roger Thiessen, congratulations on your induction into the Purcell Hall of Fame. I was proud to be your teammate, and I'm sorry I can't be with you tonight. Roger Stahl.
Well, he certainly has made my job easier through this 0-5 start to the regular season. And last year, going 3-13, he made Mondays palatable. This is a fellow who was, well, of course, his nickname has been well documented. They called him the Tool because he knew every position on the offensive line, and when pressed, he could play that position and play with distinction, poise, and professionalism. Now, Dave Lapham was a guy who embodies all that I think is good and wholesome and right about professional sports and athletics in general. He was a fellow who never lost perspective on just why he was playing the game. He never lost perspective on really what was important in his life. And he never loses perspective on just how much money he could be making if he could play today. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to introduce your guest speaker for this evening, the pride and joy of WKRC 55 CKY Channel 9, Dave Lapham.
Everything's fun at WCPL with my man DJ. One of Cincinnati's finest. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and speak to you folks this evening. Just recently, in fact, a year ago, my high school back in a tiny suburb about 15 miles northeast of Boston, Massachusetts, started a Hall of Fame. And I was fortunate enough to be inducted in the first class, enshrinees, I guess I should say, to go into the Hall of Fame. It was a heck of a thrill. I mean, been involved in a few highs and lows of an athletic career at every level, high school, collegiate, and most particularly in the professional ranks. And that night, going into the Hall of Fame, in front of a lot of your friends and family, puts a big lump in the throat and the hair on the back of the neck starts to stand up just like it did when you were at a big game. So I congratulate each and every one of you, and it's well deserved. And as I look up behind me at the banners, as I see the inductees out in the audience, as DJ has pointed out, not only great athletes, but solid contributors to society. I mean, very solid Cincinnatians, very successful. And I think it starts with my son just recently graduated from Boulder High School. My daughter is going to Purcell. And in fact, you're going to have to excuse me when I'm through with playing not Notre Dame tonight, big volleyball match, so I have to catch the tail end of that. I think that the education, developing a young lady, getting a boy into adulthood, giving them a perspective, faith in God, good education, the golden rule, how to treat people, all of that is so instrumental in their development. And I think all these inductees reflect all that's good out of the Catholic education at a place like Purcell, Marian. And I think everybody should be congratulated. I know everybody that played athletics can identify with some of the things I'm going to discuss tonight. And I used to have term this. I used to kid Kenny Anderson, who was my roommate for a few years, and I can throw a football better than he can pass the ball. So who's the skilled person? But, you know, you live when a quarterback, when Kenny threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and you knew you had a good game, as long as he wasn't sacked 7 times. When James Brooks beat Johnson, whoever rushed for 100 yards or a 1,000-yard season, felt like you had something to do with that. You rely on each other so much. I mean, you're only as good as the guy on either side of you. A good example of my quarterback throws a football 20 times in the game, and the guy pass blocking is a pretty darn good player. I block him 19 times and he beats me once. That's not too bad a grade. The quarterback gets hit, sacked 1 time now. If every one of my cohorts, we throw the ball 20 times, everybody gets beaten on a different play. Everybody grades out 19 out of 20. The quarterback gets hit 5 out of 20. All of a sudden, the percentages of your success go down dramatically. So the offensive line is like you're just a tightly woven unit, and you become totally dependent on each other. And that's something that you take to the business world. I'm only as good as DJ Mason. Consider, when we work together, DJ throws me little soft lob serves, gives me an opportunity to make a hit. On radio, if I don't have a good engineer, we'll go to the opening of the broadcast, and we're not hearing any sound in the airwaves. You might have the best broadcast of your life, but you start out with a big snafu because the guy couldn't get you on the air. You're only as good as your team. In sales, I worked with a specialty chemical company in sales. When I was out in the field, I was interfacing with the prospective customer. I was texting, but if I got the order, I was only as good as the shipping department. They got it there on time, so there were no complaints. Our research and development and creating the product. There are so many people that go to the success and executing the sales from start to finish. It's all teamwork. You learn it in sports. You learn it in football. The other thing I think that I learned from football ultimately came from Forrest Gregg, where I respect more than anybody because he put together the best football team that I ever played with. And I often use the word chemistry. I mean, you have to get along. People genuinely have to like each other. I think one of the big things right now with this version of the Cincinnati Bengals lacking is that chemistry. You know, losing chemistry stuff to build losing. You know, wins are the cure-all to build chemistry. One thing that Forrest printed on my skull was setting goals. Before the Super Bowl season in 1981, I always had the pie in the sky here, the goal, 16-0 or was a failure. And that was dumb, reflecting on it. Forrest Gregg came in, we had finished back-to-back 4-12 seasons and went 6-10 his first year of the team. And he said, he got up in front of some training camp the following year and said, hey guys, let's just go 500. Let's set a goal to have a non-losing season. I looked at this and said, kind of the goal is 8-8. That was kind of foreign to me to set a goal like that. Well, little did I realize what was going to unfold, and it taught me a different perspective on goal setting. Well, at the halfway point of the season, we were 5-3. All of a sudden, the month of November comes along, we have November. We're beating great teams by big scores. We win our 8th game. Forrest Gregg comes into us at that point, we're 8-3. He says, okay, we've got our first goal. We won 8 games, we're going to have a non-losing season. Now the next goal is to try to qualify for the playoffs. So we go along for Green, 42. Don't miss his knees. Green, 42. All staff, Joe Green kind of raises up. He gets me with the forearm, gets me right perfect inside of the temple. See the big orange flash, trying to get a perspective on where the heck I'm at. And I get up and I'm right in the middle of Pittsburgh's hall. If I could be in Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, I'd call it. I look over Jack Times with no teeth, you know, looking at Joe Green, everybody's snorting and looking at a common place here. So he says, you all right? I said, yeah, man, I'm fine. Everything's cool, you know. Go back to our huddle. We ended up winning that game 17-10, but you know, those were the kind of matchups with Joe Green. That was a big part of his game, try to verbally and physically intimidate you all game long. The flip side of it, a guy that would never try to verbally intimidate you, but physically would get it done. I don't know if you remember this guy quite as well. His name was Purcell.
Sure.
And he was a dinosaur before dinosaurs were popular. 6'5", 325 pounds, depending on what he used in the pregame meal. So I'm watching tape, I'm watching film of this guy, and I'm bringing it to my house to study, try to find things. So my son Dave's like 9 years old, and I'm sweating bullets trying to tease this guy. Watching the Raiders and Mickey Martin, Mickey Martin, 285-pound offensive guard from Tennessee, strong guy. I'm watching him play, and he gets into Louis Kelcher as hard as he can. Louis just stuffs him. And then comes Marian, the fullback, double team. Louis stuffs both of them. Clarence Davis comes in the tailback. He picks all three of them and throws a 3-yard loss. I look at my son and I'm shaking my head. The next day I walk into my microphone, the line coach has to look at the phone. I said, Mike, how do we do this guy? I'm watching this guy, and I'm running back and saying, oh man, this guy, he's a force, what a beast. So by the end of the week, I guess I get my son a little bit concerned because, you know, Saturday morning I leave the family and kiss the wife and kiss the kids goodbye, and he grabs my leg and says, goodbye, Daddy. I get on the plane and fly out to San Diego, and I'll tell you what, my worst nightmare was the realization this guy, Mike Fuller was a safety on our football team. We picked up from the Chargers, and I said, Mike, is there anything you do to kind of, you know, break Louis down a little bit? No, he didn't talk too much. He's a big old Southern from SMU. It's all business. I said, how's he have a wife and kids? He goes, yeah, they're close to his heart. I said, what's the wife's name? What's the kid's name? So I get the names. So we get up to the line of scrimmage, break the huddle, get the line of scrimmage the first time, and this sucker, the way he comes up to the line of scrimmage, and his face was like this. And that helmet, man, it's just so big, you know. It looked like he had a little kid's decorative helmet. He gets down in his stance, and his hand was like a hand with 5 hot dogs hanging out. Going up and puts that thing down. He had a size 18 Triple E shoe, and his kneecaps were that wide. His knuckles were that wide. And I said, what goodness, what am I going to do with this guy? So, I mean, I tried to, you know, you think, yeah, you're in the weight room, you got some good bodies. I hit this guy as hard as I could. Never moved him over the quarterback the whole game. Burned about 3 pair of cleats as he's marking me back to the quarterback in the pass rush. So about halfway through the third quarter, things aren't going for the old Bengals. So I asked Louis how, Michelle, how's the wife? Yeah, I can't hear him say a word. Oh, how's Bobby? How's Dobbins? He won't say anything. Not 1 quarter. So now it gets to just about 2 minutes to go in the game. We're losing 20-0. Kenny sees a breakdown in coverage from his to the rest of it. That's rooms are shut. So big old Louis Kelch goes running down the end zone and starts screaming at that defensive back. I thought, man, I don't want to be this guy. Big old Louis manager. Well, on the sideline, call for the onside kick. Onside kick, we execute. We cover the football. Break the huddle, come off the line of scrimmage, and this is the first thing he said to me all day. Get down to my stance, and I look up. He gets about half an inch away, bad breath through the way. He gets right in my face. He says, hey, what the hell are y'all doing? I said, big fella, this wasn't my idea, I'm telling you. So I got ready to get on that plane and fly back to Cincinnati. I've got enough of you, brother. You kick my butt over here, over here. I said, I didn't go for this, so I said, I kicked him, telling you. This guy was powerful. And one other quick one, playing down in the dome, curly pole, 6'1", 295 pounds. You can tie his shoes without bending over. Long arms, just flat was more around the telephone poles. I'm playing guard down there, pulling trap, full curly call reach the trap right now. When he closed that thing, knocks my face mask in my mouth, on my face, and I'm running, but I don't know how bad I'm hurt. You know, but I'm bleeding. I can see I'm bleeding, but I don't know where I'm bleeding from. So I get back to the huddle, kind of shake out the webs, you know. And Mike Wilson, right tackle on the team, looks over and he says something to me, and I try to talk. I can't talk. My teeth are hung, my lips hung out, my teeth knocked my teeth right to my lip. And I wasn't wearing a mouth guard, which was stupid. And so I tried to figure out I can't talk. I let it down and slide my lip off my teeth. And now it's inflated to about 15 pounds, you know. I went like that, my lip hit my chest, and I can't like that. So Moon Pie immediately calls me lip open. Being looked at the rest of the year. I looked over at the club, he's laughing, and I looked at him, and he lifts up here, and I said, "You think you hurt me much?" He's laughing. Those are the days that I don't miss. I don't miss the professional football on the football field, I'll tell you. But the successes, I mean, all the fun. You know, the thing that people ask what you do miss about the game, and it sounds cornball, but if you play sports, you can identify with it. It's like if you go to boot camp, you go through the military with somebody, and that special bond is made. And I'll never feel the same about one of my fellow salesmen or fellow management people at Texas brokers than I will about Andy Newmans, who I played next to for a number of years with Bob Johnson, who I played next to for a number of years with Kenny Anderson, who I went with for a number of years. You just don't get that special feeling. And I remember when I first made the Cincinnati Bengals football team, Tiger Johnson, Bill Johnson was my line coach. He said, "My son, you made it." He said, "Doesn't mean that I can't cut you tomorrow, but you made it today." And he said, and I'll tell you what, he says, "Play as long as you can. Make a rip uniform off your back, because you're never going to find anything like it." And he was 100% right. And I'll tell you what you inductees are going to feel tonight, it's very special. You know, there are certain times in life when you're married, you have your first child, and a lot of things that affect you as a person that you'll remember the rest of your life. And you inductees have rank out there with those kind of family deals. But from an athletic perspective and professional perspective, this may rank up. And I congratulate each and every one of you. Congratulations. And this is a tight family here at Purcell. You can tell by the number of people that turn out for these type of functions. And congratulate you on that too. Class act over here. And thank you for inviting me out this evening.
And listen, tell all my friends at Purcell Academy, Dave, that I don't intentionally sometimes slip and refer to them as the same person. And boy, I understand. Now our inductees for this evening. Handling the first score will be a proud 1939 graduate of Purcell, Mr. Bill Hall. Bill, come on down and do the honors.
A couple of weeks ago, Jack called me and asked me if I was down here this evening and introduce him. I felt honored, and I told him I'd be glad to. Well, I'm not very good at this. Not maybe we'll get too much trouble this evening because I've done this back for 65 years. We didn't meet. And I followed his sports activities way back. In fact, I remember the first time that he went out myself as Xavier University's head coach. And on graduating, Jack Pollard goes up to Xavier. There he plays with some of the finest teams Xavier had. In fact, his junior year, Xavier had a total MVP season. And in Jack's senior year, he was selected All-Ohio. And in 1952, he left Xavier and signed with the Chicago Bears. And while he was there, 1952 to 1958, he started every game, including exhibition games. At that time, there was no Super Bowl, but there was a pro professional football championship. And in 1956, he played with the Chicago Bears against the New York Giants for that championship. Unfortunately, they lost. Jack's career came to an end in the game with the Bears in Chicago, where he practiced hard. In 1987, he was selected to the Buddy LaRosa High School Hall of Fame. It's been a long time since he played, so 37 years, I believe. And some of you may have forgotten. A lot of you never saw him play in Illinois. So I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce a fellow who accomplished these things and still might get a lot of it.
coach with the same qualities and the ability to wear it all together. I was very lucky to have played with such players. I want to thank each and every football, baseball player that I played with. You guys know it, and I talked to you earlier, and I could not be standing up there if it was not for your people. There's no question about that. As far as the coach goes, it's Coach Ed Bussey. You played 7 years out of 8 years of high school and college with the same coach, and 1,000 things went through my mind of what am I saying. I guess I could probably sum it up, saying that the 7 years were very interesting and very rewarding. And Ed, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to play, and I thank you for the confidence that you gave me. Thank you.
Introducing Shaka Lyon, class of 54, Dan Lund and Dave Clown. Step forward.
Purcell team, been that way for some time. Tom was one of the teams that my dad coached when I was a youngster growing up. And, that's kind of representative of the influence that my dad had on the sons and people that were involved in our growing up. So it's quite a thrill. So above and beyond all this athletic Hall of Fame business, Dad, you're in my Hall of Fame.
For those of you that know my dad, I think you'll agree that he's a wise person. He doesn't easily talk about his own accomplishments. In fact, I think my mom didn't put together a scrapbook, right? When they were dating in high school, I don't know if I would have known about it when I did growing up, but it was magic to me and it brought me into this school story. I the glory of Purcell Gas and coming into this school and knowing what my dad did. That he is a modest person. I have a letter I want to read to you that he doesn't know about because I don't think he'll let me read it. He did. This came from the University of Notre Dame, from the Department of Athletics, and it's addressed to Purcell Marian High School Hall of Fame program. I'd like to read it to you. On behalf of the entire athletic department of the University of Notre Dame, it gives me great pleasure to salute one of our fine athletes from the 1955-58 Terry Brennan Coach here, Chuck Lyon. Truly, Chuck deserves all the accolades and Hall of Fame honors you are affording him. As a 6'2", 190-pound starting quarterback, Chuck displayed all the qualities we at Notre Dame and Purcell Marian wish to instill in our student athletes. Dedication, loyalty, teamwork, 110% effort, discipline, and selflessness were his hallmarks. His battles with Nick Petrosani and Ron Toth, did I say that right? For starting berth, are still remembered as legendary as they rocked the old cardio field turf. We were called to police before when Chuck was selected for the postseason play in the Blue-Gray game in Montgomery. He always represented Notre Dame so very well. We thank you for this opportunity to share a few moments and words with you all and Chuck. We are very proud of his accomplishments, and we know you are as well. We applaud your selection of Chuck for the induction into your Hall of Fame. Best wishes, Richard Rosenthal, Director of Athletics. And as for me, the man that I've always admired, still do to this day, it's a great honor to be able to introduce him to me, Chuck Ryan.
Thrilled to have them doing this as much as I am. This really means a lot to me. When you think about Purcell, Marian, and the impact this school has had on high school athletics over the years, Cincinnati, and for that matter, across the state, and then to see Carmelo's say hi to college player with Julie, heroes, Jim Bolger, all of the other Hall of Fame members here, and be recognized by this high school. It's a tremendous honor to me, and I really appreciate it. A few years back, when our kids were a bit younger, I had a chance to have some game films available, and around our hair the night before, I had some friends over arriving, and we watched these next morning. So sure enough, there we were, and we weren't in that film more than a couple minutes when one of the boys, and I think it was Joey, said, "Wow, Dad, you sure had awfully good clothes." I was smart enough to say you were driven the truck for that. But he was right. I was so fortunate to play with some great players. My good friend Bob Meyer and my brother-in-law Bill Peter, with Jack Cameron, Bill Fletcher, Eddie Schroeder. They did open real big holes, a lot of space. So tonight I had a chance to go public and thank them for that kind of support. Thank all my teammates on those 52 and 53 teams. We had a lot of fun. Jim Neal and I used to drive to school with Paul Schramm and some of the basketball kids in his Model T4. I just never forget that. We had good teams. We had a great time. But I think they'll agree that we got so much more out of this programs we were in place then than we gave. And for that, we certainly are very, very appreciative. Also, you have to thank Purcell Marian, the environment that they created for us kids back then, and I know have continued to throughout the years. It's just dynamic. You have the ability to grow mentally, to gain a sense of responsibility, so that you learn some real good lessons. I know the things that I feel I learned was that because of the likes of Larry and the likes of Jim McCarthy, all people who here support us, we learned to do everything we had and everything that we did. And of course, there was that dear person, Brother Will, who continued to warn us about that very mischievous percent that was out there. So, phenomenal good advice that was. So it's been a great ride, and again, to have the
the legendary Roger Purcell. He is introduced by a classmate from distinguished year 1961, Mr. Marian. Marian, please step forward.
Before I say good things about Buddy Things, I want to congratulate Chuck. When I grew up, I wanted to be just like you. I was hoping that Dickie would get introduced ahead here because we had decided back at our table in Team 60, one of your lessons is that you weren't a year younger because you had a hard time starting on our team. Roger Thiessen. Roger lettered in 3 sports here at Purcell for 4 years: football, basketball, and baseball. Accelerating in football. Played on the varsity as a sophomore. Started as a junior and senior. His senior year, he was elected co-captain along with our good buddy Tom Keefus. And led the team in scoring. He was elected best back on the team, all league, all city, all state. He received an appointment to the Naval Academy. Not many people know that. Paperwork-wise, it didn't work out. And so, to the good fortune of Xavier, Denny Biles, Roger played his college football at Xavier. He started there for 3 years and won their most prestigious award, the Legion of Honor. People that know Roger, that play ball with him, will tell you over and above his athletic ability, which he had a lot of, the thing that set him apart from others was his attitude of discipline, determination, toughness. Things that as a co-captain helping to lead a team that was supposed to be not much more than average to an undefeated season, a state championship season, one of only 3 teams in the school's history to do that. Thank you for that, thanks. And he's taken those same qualities in life, an accomplished and successful businessman, president of his own companies, a loving husband and father, and a dedicated and committed Catholic Christian, and things that any Marianist would be proud that one of their graduates would have those qualities. So on behalf of your family and your friends, and most especially your teammates tonight, please, we want to congratulate you. We're proud of you. We want to let you know you deserve the support. And so in prayer, we say God bless you, and may He continue to bless you and your family. I present Roger Thiessen.
Let's take a deep breath and collect my thoughts here. I stand before you tonight as a humble, appreciative, and a thankful man. I'm humbled by the presence of all of you here this evening, and I'm very proud to be included with other athletes that are being conducted with me. I know several of them personally, and I have great respect for them as gentlemen and as superb athletes. I'm also very proud to be a part of those that have been inducted before me. To be included with the likes of Jim McCarthy, Brother Bill, Roger Staubach, and the other gentlemen that are in the audience tonight is truly overwhelming. I sincerely appreciate the recognition that's being bestowed on me this evening, and I'd like to express my gratitude to everybody at Purcell Marian. There's something special that happens when we return to the castle, and this evening is no exception. So my thanks to Pat Hake, to Terry Mike, to Denny Johnson, and all the rest of the Purcell family for making this evening possible. discipline and dedication, I have been molded into the person I am today. My love for sports started early in my life. I remember playing football and basketball and baseball in the backyard with my brothers, always trying to do my best to win. And I thank Ken and Stan for putting up with me all these years. Sports around our house was what we lived and breathed. I remember one Thanksgiving where we had played football in the backyard in the morning. We watched football that afternoon, all afternoon, and then Mom prepared a Thanksgiving dinner. I asked Ken if he would pass the turkey. He handed it off to Stan. Stan gave it to me. I grabbed the turkey and I spiked it. That's just a joke, folks. Mom said, there's too much sports around the house, but that's what we have all the time, is a good feeling of camaraderie because of sports. Although I enjoy all sports, my successes really seem to be primarily related to football. Because it was a team sport, it provided me with some of the best friendships that I've had over the years. I look at guys like Frank Walhorn, came all the way down from Troy, Michigan to be with us this evening. Started at Dayton. Bill Tepe, who played with me here at Purcell, and went on to play with me at XU. He's a great defensive end. Little guy by the name of Bill Sweeney. Couldn't have weighed more than 120 pounds as a high school football player. But he averaged over 40 yards caught the football. And of course, Gary Henry, who introduced me this evening, followed in the footsteps of Roger Staub and set the school passing record. We had a great team in 1960. We won 24 games. Pardon me. In my career here at Purcell, playing in 1958, 59, and 60, we won 24 games, lost 4, tied 1. Better than an 80% winning record. We scored 623 points in those 3 years to our opponents' 230. It was guys like the gentleman that I just mentioned that made those types of things happen. Good teammates. As Gary mentioned, I was fortunate to move on to college, and again, I was blessed with great teammates. If success breeds success, then how could I help but not be successful being around such guys as Vince Eisel, Jerry Mopper, Stan Shepard, Frank St. Charles, and one of our inductees, Jim Higgins. I moved on, started my business career, and again, I was blessed and fortunate to have good partners and good friends. My partner from Lexington, Kentucky, Farrah Alford, was a basketball player at the University of Alabama, knows what it's like to be tough times, and we've worked well together. Bill Stratton, my partner in many deals, has stuck with me through thick and thin. You know, I've often been asked what athletics in general, and football specifically, has meant to me. And I really believe that football is probably the best training for life itself. Consider what a football player goes through in the course of a game. The team huddles, the quarterback calls the play, and sets the plan. Everybody hopes that that play will be a scoring play and will score a touchdown. As the running back, I was given the opportunity to try to score that touchdown. I may have the chance to go all the way. But more than likely, I'd get slammed to the ground by a 250-pound defensive man who really was trying to make my life miserable. But you'd have to get back up again knowing full well that there's a possibility that there's some defensive lineman that's going to punish you brutally again. You know you can't quit. Your teammates are counting on you. You know you can't relax because they're trying their hardest also. Isn't that what life is all about? You're presented opportunities. You try your hardest to succeed, but oftentimes you fall short. Your whole world caves in around you, knowing full well that you have to go home, get back up the next day, and go at it again. Determination, persistence, and the intestinal fortitude to keep moving forward. That's what football's about. That's what life's about. Let me close by thanking all of our teammates, my partners in business, for all that they've done for me over the years. Without you, I would not be where I am today. I want to particularly thank my wife and my children. My daughter Courtney is in her sophomore year at the College of Charleston and is not able to be with us this evening. But my wife Noelle and my son Todd are here, and I would like you to honor them and recognize them as well. Most of all, I'd like to thank God for giving me the many talents and helping me to use them to do His will. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Coach Steve Klein with the honors of producing Jim Higgins. Now, the first time I met Steve Klein, just by way of background here, he loves this. And Noel, you would have been deeply disappointed in 89 tradition. Correct. First time I met Steve Klein, he was a bouncer at a place called The Scene on California Street. He was on Mill Street. I walked in, this is the biggest man I've ever seen. And he said, go on, yes, come on, go ahead. Yes. Steve, come on up here. Now the head football coach at Mulver High School, brought so much adulation and so much fame to the Tri-State, Steve Klein. And I'm looking around.
That's not what I said. I said he didn't look like a grown up to win his place. That's what I said. It's with great pleasure and great humility. I don't know if it was kind of funny, the story about me being able to induct Jim Higgins, because we were down in the coach's office eating lunch one day. And I said, Jim, who's going to induct you into the Purcell Hall of Fame? I knew you were going in. Jim's never said a word. He said, you want to? And I said, sure, I would be happy to. And so I really kind of felt, I thought, yeah, I wonder if he just told me that because I asked him who was going to induct me. But really tonight, I found the real truth as we were walking off the football field to practice for our game this week. Jim Jr. was walking in front of me, and I said, Jim, I said, is your mom picking you up soon to go? And he said, no, I got 3.5 hours of homework. I got to stay home and do it. I said, well, so you're not even going? He said, no. He said, really, it was between you and Mr. Eisel to go ahead and present Jim, and they really felt that you would be a lot kinder to him than Vince would. So really, that's why you're going. I said, well, thanks, Jim. I feel a lot better about that. Because I really thought I kind of put him in a hole, and I'm doing this because he was going to be kind to me. But now we know the real truth. On the serious side, I grew up in Pleasant Ridge, still live there.
Purcell football for years and years and years, and I grew up with going to Nativity Parish, and most everybody there went to Purcell, Marian, or Purcell at that time. And had a lot of close friends that played football here at Purcell, and my closest friends probably went to Purcell. I really kind of ran around with most of those guys all the time. And so I feel kind of close to Purcell football because I've really grown up with it all the years I was growing up. And I can remember when I was an 8th grader, going to be a freshman in high school, and I had not gone ever to a high school football game. And I can remember that I grew up with Mike Cameron, and Cameron's in Pleasant Ridge, and somehow they took me to the game. It was 1960, I guess it was Roger Baker Purcell Tractor Stadium, and it was the first high school football game I'd ever seen. And I knew all the players that I knew on that team. I was a freshman in high school, and Roger and Jim and all those players that played on those teams were, they were like bigger than life. They were idols. And here I stand today going to introduce a good friend of mine in the Purcell High School Hall of Fame. First of all, when you look at Jim Higgins, you know a couple of things about him. Number one, his intensity. There's no doubt about his intensity. There's no doubt about his toughness. There's no doubt about his discipline. And that's really a credit to Purcell High School in playing for Jim McCarthy and getting that discipline here and being the same way as a teacher and as a coach that he has done for a lot of years. I know that him and Jim McCarthy think I'm along the same lines because all they wanted to do was run the football, and that's all Jim still wants to do, is run the football. And I think Jim is really a true dinosaur. Once he passes, there won't be another one really like him in this area. He's coached a lot of players at a lot of schools here at Purcell for 5 years and at Muller since I guess he went to Muller in 1973 or 4 and left and went to Jerry Notre Dame in 1980 and the Naval Academy and back to Muller. He's coached a lot of players. And I will guarantee you that he's coached the offensive line for many, many years. And I think the highest honor that anyone can pay him, that his players, without question, feel that he was the greatest football coach they had ever had or ever will be. And they still feel that today, years and years past. And when they come back to Muller High School, they're going to go Jim Higgins if he coached them, because that was a special privilege and honor. And that's still the same way it is today. And really, the tremendous respect I see in their eyes when they see me is probably worth a big high place in heaven. Jim is, without question, he has done this for all his life. It takes a special person to coach and teach in Catholic schools and to do it all your life. You talk about dedication, you talk about a true will, you talk about giving back to the players that he received at Purcell. All the coaching and discipline and how he felt, how close he felt to Purcell. He has done that his whole life to everybody that he has coached. There's no greater honor than that. No one has paid a bigger price than he has to do that. He has tremendous friends. Gary Henry, Roger Thiesing, Vince Eisel, they've all been long friends of his for 30 years. They get together all the time. They have a special bond, special relationship. And really all three of these men, when I observe them, their religious faith and how they feel about God is really among all three of them. So Purcell High School did a tremendous job in educating them and bringing them to where they are today. I know this. He is, without a doubt, the best offensive line coach I have ever been around or ever will be around. And without question, when I went to Muller High School, I worked with him for a year, and I found out a little bit about the offensive line, a whole lot about it. And I'll guarantee you that
circle. You go here, you make friendships, you learn from teachers, you learn from coaches, and then take a step further. You come back. And you get a chance to apply what you learned in 4 years of spending. And I'd like to just kind of capsulize what I think are the most important things that one way or another rubbed off on me. We've talked about friendships. It's been close to 40 years since I have known the people that I met here at Purcell High School, and those that I played football with, and some that didn't. And they are still close friends through thick and thin. I would turn to them in times of need, and I hope that they would turn to me in times of need. And I know we have a lot of special memories. When I came here, I wasn't the most motivated person in the world. I was a little fat guy, 185 pounds, 5'6". Thought I was a good grade school football player. I got here, I got hit so hard I didn't know where I was for a week. We had 150 freshmen, and lined up about 8 teams. I think I was on the 7th one. And I soon realized that guys like Jerry Palmer, Stan Shepard, Vince Eisel, Joe Huber, Mike Worth. I said, hell, I'm going to have to step my game up if I'm going to survive in this place. I mean, these are quality guys. Jerry's a captain at UC in college. We got a Heisman Trophy winner. I think almost everybody on the starting 11 were Division I scholarship players. The year behind us, they like to say the class of 61, but they played with us more than they played in 61. Keithus and Deasy, they came up as sophomores or as freshmen and practiced with us. So I think of those guys as being on our team. We've got captains galore. These were good people, good players, good persons. And a lot of that has to rub off on me. And it did. I had to step up my game to survive around these guys. They were quality athletes. I think also the families that, while coaching here at Purcell, like the Robles back there. You see the Robles boys sitting back there? I coached 2.5 of them. Billy and Tom, I mean, you talk about family. They sit down in Norwood, and drink their beer in the evenings, and talk to grandma and grandpa, and mom and dad are there, and then they go out and they play their guts out. Great kids. The Fritches, Dale's back there, a great family, great competitors, great players. The Lyons, right over here, Chuck was duly recognized tonight. The Gardners, I don't know if any of them are here, but I'm almost ready to coach the next generation of Gardners. I coached the first generation here, and now we've got a freshman tackle that's about that tall. Again, he's got that same white streak of hair and the same nastiness, and I'm getting ready to coach him. So it's a unique perspective, and I really feel good about it. I know Dale has a son in 8th grade at All Saints, and he looks like he's maybe he might be too good to be an offensive lineman now. Maybe I'll get a shot at him. So that's the next generation coming around. So families are a part of Purcell, a big part. I think the faculty, I think some of the guys that are here would admit to the same thing. A lot of the faculty was here rubbing off on us. I teach now, so when I first got into teaching, I was thinking, well, I forgot to take my education hours at Xavier. So Brother Larry said, well, you can take them later and go on and teach. I said, fine. Who am I going to teach like? Well, I ended up teaching like the guys that taught me, which has worked pretty well. Probably the man that sits right there, Brother Larry, because it all starts with discipline. You couldn't get anything by him. I mean, nothing. Now, affectionately, Brother, your name was the Eagle. And it was the Eagle because he would swoop on you from nowhere. I mean, didn't make a difference whether you were a teacher or a student. He was fair, he was correct, he was firm. And so you model yourself after what you see in someone that you respect. And I model myself in that area after Brother Larry. I could have never taught English, which I ended up teaching. If it hadn't been for Brother Richard Zevin. Brother Larry, when I walked in the doors to teach the first year, said, I've got a surprise for you. You can't teach 5 history. We've got an English teacher who's sick, but you have to teach 3 English. So Brother Larry, I don't know if I can do that. He said, I'll give you a couple of days to refresh yourself and go teach me. And so I went and got Rose Emily's old notes and textbook and rolled right through them. I had, it's my favorite thing to teach. But I haven't improved a bit on what he taught me here. And that's Father John Ulrich, God rest his soul, a man that left this world all too soon. Great teacher, great intelligence, kind, compassionate man. He would teach through related stories, and I mean, he could help hold you spellbound with it. When I teach history, I try to teach like him. So all this, the faculty, it rubs off on you, and it becomes part of it. The coaches, I mean, they start us out with Bernie Cinchia. And Bernie made you tough. Bernie did it. He had a drill called Iwo Jima. And he was an ex-Marine, so I guess that's where he got it. But the guy with the ball got up the top of the hill, and the guy who was attacking was at the bottom of the hill. And Bernie said, go. And you hoped that you met somewhere in the middle of the hill. Well, yeah, it was easy to attack a guy in the level field after we got used to attacking a guy coming down the hill. We started out with 150 freshmen. When we got finished, the end of freshman year were probably down to 8. Bernie ran into the owl's nest and then ran you back. You know, it was about over a mile, I guess. We were running along, and he's driving along his car, making sure he didn't stop. After that, anything was easy, he thought. Then Jim McWay and Rocky Kruger. Vince, you remember that? Oh, that's right. Okay, I forgot. Vincent took a couple of days off in summer practice because his dad's meat story I read it up. Another day, I got on the bus and said, Coach, I got a pimple on my leg. I forgot to practice. Because you know what? I don't like him. Because we got on the bus to get out of Lincoln Airport, and every day we look at each other and say, why the hell are we doing this? You had those jerseys that were about, well, they were black. They came down to your knuckles. They were about an inch thick. Must have been made out of wool. Those old canvas pants, remember? Those leather helmets? Like being inside a tank. But they made it tough. And they gave us pride because at the end of that sophomore year, there were 35 guys out of 150. And half of them were back up. But we were good. We were getting good anyway. Then you get to the varsity, and I don't know, any level that I've ever played or coached on, I never learned any more than I learned from Bill Kuchar, Paul Purcell, and Jim McCarthy. It's that simple. The fundamentals that they laid down are good anyway. And basically 2 things. Never quit. Never quit. They would run you until you were ready to drop. Those canvas jerseys and helmets and all that. And if you fell down, I fell down one day and I said, I can't do it. Bill Kuchar looked right in my face. He said, I never want to hear I can't from you again. And he did. And you found out that there wasn't much that you couldn't do. And I thank you for that. The other thing they really accomplished, and why Purcell was so good, they got more out of you than you knew that you had in you. I mean, I can remember going into the senior year, I played 3 minutes my junior year. I was thinking, well, this season gets over, I guess I'll go to SU, be a day hop, take a ground Richard was a great technician. Whenever I start coaching a team or a group of kids, I start with the same fundamentals that he taught me. They're good today, they were good then. And I respect them. And I thank him for them. I guess, in summarizing, I know people through the years have said, why do you teach and coach? You know, you could make more money doing this, you could make more money doing that. You could make more money doing almost anything. But I think St. Thomas More, who was beheaded by Henry VIII, long time ago. Thomas More was the Chancellor of England, and he was the man second in power to Henry. So Thomas could get anybody any kind of job they wanted. And a man named Richard Rich, who was a very ambitious and unqualified man, kept hounding Thomas for a job that would have fame and wealth. And Thomas finally said, Richard, no, I won't give you the job. And Richard said, why? He said, because I don't think you'd be good at that. But I will do this. I will get you a job as a teacher. And Richard's jaw dropped. He said, teacher? Who will know about me? Who will know what I do? I'll never be famous. Thomas said, Richard, your audience will be your family and your peers, your students and God. And Richard, that's the best audience you can have. This is the best audience I can have. Thank you very much.
Hey, Jim, Clipper wants to throw the ball 50 times this week. You think you can help him out? Bob Connell, please step forward. Former coach and current teacher here at Purcell, Marian. He is going to introduce our next inductee, the very talented John Purcell. Bob?
I want to clear one thing up. I don't want to deceive anybody. You notice the new coach, John Marian. Out of something bad comes something good. But 30 years ago when I started here, usually the coaches met and divided up all the secondary sports, the minor sports, tennis, golf, freshman track. And I came late to the meeting and somebody said, "Mom, you got tennis." I said, "I don't know anything about tennis. I thought you played like football, you know, 21 men." And I was even surprised when I found out the inside of tennis ball was in. Now that was the bad part. I got stuck with tennis. As I go through the evening, you'll understand the good part. I conversed with John the other day. We were talking, and I just said, John, where did you get the feeling that this was it? You wanted to play tennis for the rest of your life? And if you know John's neighborhood, his backyard was Hyde Park Tennis Club. And John said he always used to play football in the driveway right next to the tennis courts. People used to get upset. So one day Monica Nolan bought a tennis racket, and it never stopped from there. At age 12, John won the Western Tennis Championship. After that, he came to Purcell High School, proceeded to double up with Joe Foley his freshman year, and went up to the state and lost in the semifinals. His junior year, he went to the regionals and lost to Ron Good from Winthrop. But his junior and senior year, he won the state championship. There aren't too many people that won it back-to-back. There were several that won it 3 times. There were 2 of them, I believe. And John is one of the few with 2 back-to-back. John's overall record in high school, we sat down, we tried to figure out with all the tournaments, it's somewhere in the vicinity of 130 wins and 5 losses. Now, up in Columbus, 30 years ago,
cellular player. And prior to the state tournament, we always played up at Upper Arlington. They had a tournament for the best in the state. Well, John always won that. So when it came time for me to talk and sell John to try to get a #1 seed, I wouldn't even leave my seat and come up to the podium. I'd just stand up and look around and say, has anybody beaten John Purcell in this room? And we always got the #1 seed. John couldn't have done it without me, really. We got to hear listen to the story. I was the only person who would hold his tennis shoes, his second pair of tennis shoes. I'd hold his V-neck t-shirt, his tennis rackets, and I always got him water whenever he wanted. I was always courtside for 4 years, and he never left me a tip. It's been a real ride with John, it really has. Probably two of the proudest things John has is right immediately after high school in June, he played in the National Scholastic Tournament. That's the best in every state. And John came in third. He lost to Howard, I think it was Howard Solomon. And to come in third in the United States at that age is super. And as a result of that, another thing he's most proud of was the fact that he received over 40 major 4-year scholarships to super universities. Everything in the Ivy League, the best schools in Florida, Arizona, and California. And yet he chose to go to UC. I know what his motives were. Stay home, and this is where you're going to do business. And while John was at UC, he was captain for 4 years. And in 1973, the NCAA tournament, they came in ninth. Also in 1973, he won the Junior Davis Tennis Championship in Poughkeepsie, New York. And after that, in 1974, they came in 11th in the tournament. Now, John, because of the success at UC, was just recently elected into their Hall of Fame, along with the likes of Tony Trigger. Now, John chose a professional career in tennis, the ATP. He did a lot of traveling in Asia, Australia, and the United States. And he, as you read the brochure, the little booklet, he had some notable wins over the Pelicans. And he also beat Peter Fleming. Now, John's career came slowly to an end. It was supposed to be a bad back. Ended up with kidney failure, and John had to have his kidney removed. And that kind of ended his pro career. And then he turned to playing with John, his son, and the father-son tournaments. And recently, I think back in 92 or 93, they were ranked 11th. John not only went after tennis with a vengeance, but he also went into the business world after his pro career. And just to give you an example, he had a lot of things that he went after in business, but in one of them, he right now has formed a real estate investment company, Marian Properties Incorporated. John raised $75 million of equity capital. He successfully structured, marketed, and completed Cincinnati projects such as Meridian and St. James at the Park condominiums. He is presently Chairman CEO of Future Healthcare Incorporated. In less than 2 years, John raised $19 million through initial public stock offering. Since Future Healthcare has gone public, it's increased 700%. And so help me God. After I started writing these little notes down, it's gone up 2.5 points. And the stock market, NASDAQ. Believe me. The company received the number 79 ranking in Inc. magazine, the list of 100 fastest growing companies. And as a result, John was just honored in the professional tennis circuit with the Rolex Award, Rolex Achievement Award in Business and Finance. So, from a kid playing football in the driveway to CEO of his own company, I shudder to think what would happen to John if Monica Noah would have gotten football. And with that, I'd like to present to you John D. Purcell Jr.
tradition that has been a part of the school since 1928. And I guess you have to ask yourself, what creates such a rich heritage and a rich tradition that we all can sit here tonight and enjoy and bask in? And I guess it's looking around at people that have been involved with the school since 1928, some of you, and many people are here tonight that taught me in 66 to 70, and you've heard many stories about the people that have come a long way to honor their fellow teammates and classmates. And I think that's really what has made this special for all of you here, and particularly me. But I think the people that really need to be honored tonight probably don't get it enough are the people that put the hard work behind making Purcell what it is. Brother Larry, Denny Johnson, Terry Meinke, everybody who bends over backwards to create the atmosphere tonight that we're all enjoying. And I just want to say that bottom line, I appreciate what it is that you all have devoted your life to creating that I get to share in for a brief moment. So to you all, I applaud and congratulate you. It's funny, Bob talks about those days, and he's not kidding either. You know, he did tell me, he said, I came in late on the tennis coach. And I said, well, that's okay. I know a little bit about it, and I'll help you out. And I've been helping him out ever since then. But I will say, everybody's talked a little bit about some of their experiences, and one that I relate to was at my junior year when I went to play in the state tournament. I was playing in the finals. I was playing a boy from Cleveland, John Hay, Robert Binns, and he had won the state tournament the year before. Very fine player, and I played him before, he never beat me, and went out to do my best, and wasn't doing so well. I lost the first set 6-2, and I was down either 3 or 4-1, and I was in my own little world out there, and I was changing sides, and all of a sudden I heard a big yell from the back of the fence. And just at that time, about 12 kids from Purcell had found the place and showed up. And I don't know that I can attribute it all to them, but I will. And that is I ended up winning 6-4, 6-2. So it was that sense of family and people coming to support me that made a big difference. And while tennis is an individual game, many, many times throughout my high school and my college career, the sense of teammate and winning events at Purcell, and the support that I got from the student body was truly remarkable. So, again, thank you for this wonderful honor. I appreciate being included with such prestigious athletes and individuals, and God bless you all.
Carl Brown, there's a class act player of the year in both the GCL and the city. Of course, went all-star at Eastern Kentucky University in basketball in 1976. According to your brochure, he said EK used a career scoring record. And to introduce him, again, the alumni director, celebrating Mr. Dennis Johnson. Dennis.
I'd just like to say again, with that so often up here, since I'm the last speaker, I do find it appropriate to say that along with the very, very strong family ties that each individual has mentioned, and coupled with that, the caring for one another, I don't think you missed once hearing the name of God. And we're a Catholic school, and we're extremely proud in each inductee today and seeing him in his own way. Family, caring, and thanking God. And the only thing I didn't hear, and I was happy that I didn't, because it gives me the opportunity, before I induct Carl, to say to each of the inductees that you truly, in every sense of the word, recognize the most famous, in my opinion, of all models throughout Cincinnati, maybe the tri-state area, quite possibly the country. You are truly outstanding among all. And I feel very, very blessed and honored to know each and every one of you. thrill for me this evening to present Carl. I remember literally when he came to us, came to the castle and manifested immediately tremendous potential. Carl played football, basketball, and ran track his sophomore year. He broke his wrist during football season, and I truly believe, although you hear a lot of stories, that broken wrist allowed Carl to concentrate the next 2 years on basketball and track. He did not make a comeback in football. Carl's excellence in basketball and track over the next 2 years distinguished him in the highest fashion. In track, Carl was named first team GCL, setting league records in the high hurdles, and is a member of the 88 relay team. In basketball, in both his junior and senior year, Carl was named his team's most valuable player. He achieved first team GCL and All-City status his junior year, repeated that again, first team GCL and All-City status his senior year. He was player of the year in GCL his senior year, and was also voted player of the year in Cincinnati, in the city of Cincinnati his senior year. Carl went on, as Denny Mansion said, to start Eastern Kentucky University. Carl set the EKU all-time scoring record his senior year, and that year also was selected in the 6th round of the NBA draft by the Phoenix Suns. This is a man, without a doubt, of exceptional athletic ability. However, his talents as husband, father, and provider distinguish him daily. His wife, Bev, is a teacher at our Mother of Sorrows grade school, where his daughters, Carla and Lauren, attend. Carl's mom and dad have been an ever-present support throughout his life. I was joking with his dad during the meal whenever the lights went on at Purcell and Carl was involved. You didn't have to look far to see his dad and his mom. There was no question about their presence when Carl and his team and teammates showed up. And last Easter, which I think which I am frankly very proud of Carl. Last Easter, Carl and his daughters made one of the most profound decisions of their lives. They made the decision to be baptized into the Roman Catholic Church. And my wife and I were extraordinarily honored to be the godparents of Carl's daughters, Carl and Bev's daughters, Carla and Laura. This is a man who exemplifies the very best of what it means to be a great athlete, no question, a tremendous husband and father, and I'd say most importantly, a man of God. I give you Carl Brown.
Good evening. Thank you very much. I'm a little voice from my voice. Reason being, I'm a coach. I'm a coach of the 7th and 8th grade girls basketball team. I kind of lost my voice a little bit with the girls, but I have fun. I just want to thank all the Cavaliers, guests, for being here and supporting the school, supporting athletics in general, and for being a part of my life here at Purcell. I would like to thank my mother, my father, Mrs. Norman, my wife, Beverly, and my daughters, Laura and Carla. The theme that has been here at Purcell is discipline, family environment, being around people that really care for you. I would like to say that being at Purcell was a very uplifting, motivating time for me. It was a time in my life that I think I needed some guidance. I think I needed some discipline. The word that's very seldom used now. The discipline part of life for me is to be able to cope with the pressures of life. And I believe that I learned a lot of that here at Purcell.
thank you for the support, being my friend, having classes together where we try to do some good things, and being indicative of the school. I believe in the system. I believe the system is what works. If you look at the way our system is now, our society is now with kids, I believe we need a little more discipline now with the spanking and the paddling. I think we need to spend a little more time with our kids. I think we need to get a little more involved with our kids. And at times, learn to say no. No to some things that may or may not be what's best for them. You see, a long time ago, my mother decided that there were some things that she wanted to happen for me. And I'm very, very grateful that as a parent, you get to have that foresight to see what is needed in the life of your children. I see that already in the lives of my children. I want them to prosper. I want them to discipline. I want them to have everything that I've had at Purcell. Also, I'm not going to say it, but better not cry. So I'm not going to cry. But I would like to thank everyone very much. Let's especially like to thank Dennis Johnson, Larry Evans, Mr. Terry Blanking, all my friends for being supportive, coming out and helping Purcell reach back one more time and say thank you to some of the athletes that have been here and have prospered along the way. I am very, very thankful that I was a part of this school. I will always be a part of the school. This is the cornerstone of my life. Without Purcell, I think there would have been something missing, and I don't know what it would have been, but I think being here has made molded the person that you see, made me a better person, and hopefully I can pass that on to my children. Being in Purcell, being around a lot of students, especially the teachers, since my wife is a teacher now, I do understand some of the things that teachers go through. It is hard work, and the gratitude that you get comes later. It's not easy. But that's the state of affairs. That's the state of affairs for our kids now. I'm glad that my wife is a teacher. I'm glad that we're in a situation where we can help. I will be active in school. I am active without mother's sorrow. I would like to stay active and help promote better people, better kids. If there's anything that I can do for this school, I will. If there's anything I can do for our mother's sorrow, I will. So I would like to say thank you very much for bestowing this award to me, to all the inductees. Good company. Thank you very much.
In summation, ladies and gentlemen, you obviously have a lot to be proud of here at Purcell, Marian, not the least of which is the best PA system in the GCL. In fact, I think back to my days at Elder High School, the first 4 words I ever spoke into a microphone, not guilty, Your Honor. We want to remind all the new inductees and the former inductees that you should gather up here at the end of the proceeding here tonight. And also, we want to mention that these plaques will be on permanent display here to honor your achievements and your days at Purcell. And